Hey sweetheart, welcome in to Nothing But Nuance, the show in which I yap about my opinions or something I've researched and you enable me by being here. I'm your local well-established idiot, Sin. Hi if you're first coming in. Today we're going to talk about comfort horror movies, although I will warn you with a preface. Not all of these are genuine horror. I have a couple horror comedies. I have an animated horror, like child intro animated type horror. It's going to be on the cover. You know what it is. And also, if you are also an early 2000s kid, you know what it is. Because I think we all, had a thing with this movie as a kid. Everyone I know either was terrified of it or loved it. And there's never an in-between. But we're going to talk about my top 10. I'm going to be talking about movies from the ones I reach for the least, which would be 10, up to the one I feel like I reach for the most, which would be number 1. Obviously, these movies have moved around in time. These have been here, one of them since before I actually got into horror, some of them since I first got into horror 7 years ago. So it moves around a lot, just to warn you. This video will probably be outdated by, next year. And that's okay. I also have horrible lighting today, and I do apologize, but it is overcast, and I have a birthday weekend to get through this week. So I don't have time to just wait it out and hope tomorrow's better. I won't be here. I will be 2 hours away. That being said, I'm not going to warn you with any trigger warnings before the video starts like it normally does. If any of these movies have them, I'll let you know. But that being said, we're going to get straight into it.
You're going to stay here forever.
My first ever horror adjacent sort of comfort movie, 2009's Coraline. This movie is about a young girl who, while wandering her rambling old house in her boring new town, discovers a hidden door to a strangely idealized version of her life, which seems too good to be true. I love this movie. I think anyone who was born in the early 2000s, late 90s, probably watched this as a kid. I had people in my life that were adults who were scared of this movie. I love it. I think The Other Mother is one of my favorite villains of all time. This movie, Gremlins, and then Courage the Cowardly Dog, Gravity Falls, that sort of stuff. I feel like all of that sort of melded together to eventually bring me to being into horror. I love this movie. I have a very specific memory of getting out of the ER and being on a really, really high adrenaline rush, and just my dad put this on because he knew I couldn't sleep and he knew it'd be something I could be distracted by. And so honestly, no matter how much horror I watch, no matter how many comforts I get from horror, Coraline's always going to be there for that alone. The visuals of Coraline are just so beautiful, and the addition of Wybie, who isn't in the book, is so good. And I have so much love and care for that movie. I will forever hold it. In middle school, it was on constantly. I have a Funko Pop of it that an old friend I actually no longer talk to brought me because I spent so long talking about the art style while we were watching it. He had never seen it, that he just kind of found it and he was like, man, they would love this, and kind of just showed up, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And he was like, no, it's yours. This has been a movie I've been associated with for a long time, and I take a lot of pride in that, actually. I don't know, when I love a movie so much that people think of me when they think of it, I always take that as a compliment, you know? Yeah, that is a movie that's become part of me. That is something I appreciate enough that other people can visibly see how much I appreciate it. And I love that. I think that's really fun. I love it. It's really great. I don't know, I'm kind of this is just gonna be a video where I get to be really excited about stuff. I'm sorry in advance. I don't have any sort of oh, well, this could have been better. No, these are all very emotional attached movies for me. I love them. I'm gonna tell you why I love them.
But together forever. United against life as we know it.
We have Ginger Snaps from the year 2000. This movie, I will warn you, has a lot of triggers for there's a lot of suicide sort of things in it. There's, quite frankly, a lot of sexual sort of stuff, I'd argue that you could view one way that a character is turned into a werewolf as sort of like a metaphor for being assaulted via someone not informing you of their health history. So that is a warning I need you to go in with, but this movie follows two death-obsessed sisters who are outcast in their suburban neighborhood as they deal with the tragic consequences of one of them being bitten by a deadly werewolf. Now, if you've heard me talk, you know I love the trope where a character who has been obsessed with the concept of themselves dying chooses to live. And this movie has that. I used to have a picture. I don't have it anymore because I accidentally deleted my whole camera roll. But I used to have a picture of me in a Chucky costume, just like sobbing after watching this movie. This is one that makes me cry. I'll openly admit that, but I think that's what can be really comforting about it. If I need to cry, this is what I'm gonna reach for. This movie is considered a B horror. It's almost considered like a coming-of-age horror. If those are things you're into, this is really gonna be up your alley. It has Emily Perkins and Katharine Isabelle in it as your main sisters. I love them. I think American Mary and Ginger Snaps are great. I have really high things to say about Bones. If you know me, you know I like Katharine Isabelle's work. I love Emily Perkins. I've got a different Emily Perkins movie on here. I'm gonna have the same actors come up a lot because I oftentimes will watch something just because I know an actor I like is in it. I know there's one movie on here that has two actors from two different movies on the list in it. That's just how it works. But Ginger Snaps is like, it's your comfort movie for when you need to cry. It's the comfort of it comes from the bond between these sisters and how even when they're kind of awful to each other, they still would do anything for each other. It's this, like, I love them. I love their dynamic. I think the belly button piercing scene is, like, one of my favorite scenes in a horror movie because it's just so, like, I don't know. This movie almost feels like you're watching, like, some emo duo's YouTube videos, but it's too old to actually be trying to replicate that, you know? Like, almost like My Immortal type edgy. It's really fun. This movie's very fun. It's very early 2000s. Like, you understand why the, like, not like other girls, goth girls are really into it. It's a fun movie. And, like, sometimes that's all it needs to be. It gets really sad at some points. There's some really silly kills and really silly concepts in it. And also, if you've ever seen Ginger after she starts to snap, teenage me, because Katharine Isabelle is, I think, like 17 or 18 in this. She's really young. Emily Perkins is actually the older one of the two. But, like, teenage me was obsessed with her. I think I watched this for the first time at, like, 16. Definitely had a crush on Ginger back in the day. That's how it is.
I am a god.
Jennifer's Body from 2009. We've talked about her before. But this movie follows a newly possessed high school cheerleader who turns into a succubus who specializes in killing male classmates. Will her best friend be able to put an end to the horror? This movie is a thriller. I'm pretty sure that's how we officially classify it. Some people call it a horror. The director said she was trying to make a comedy, but you can tell this is definitely, like, it's not even a horror comedy. It's like a thriller comedy. This one's dumb. Like, it's dumb. You read the reviews of it on Letterboxd and they're like, yeah, this movie's dumb. Why is Chris Pratt here? Why is Chris Pratt here? Great question. But, like, I don't know, the queerness of it, which I have a whole video talking about the strangeness of the, like, the way this is done and how this movie plays into the history of queerness and horror, but, like, man, you got Megan Fox playing a bisexual demon. Bisexual cheerleading demon, okay? Like, We know why people like this movie. We know why lesbians like this movie. Okay? Like, you know why we're here. I love this movie. The I'm a God scene is so easily recognizable. This is another one that's, like, trigger warning wise, before you go into this, the sacrifice is definitely in some way metaphorical sexual assault. There is a sense of persuasion in it. Sex is in the movie. I know some people feel differently about sex and horror or nudity and horror. So those are all things I want to warn you of. It does have one of my favorite Scream Kings in it, Kyle Gallner. I know him more. Like, this is where I found him. But this is where I found him. But when I think of Kyle Gallner, I think of the Elm Street remake, and I think of his episode of Criminal Minds, which, like, dare I say, one of the best episodes of Criminal Minds. I love when Scream Kings show up in that show. They always do great. But I do believe, like, he's great. He adds a lot. His character, Colin's one of my favorite characters of the movie. It's silly. It's dumb. The soundtrack is amazing. I think about Through the Trees all the time. It plays in the back of my head often. You just want a dumb, turn your brain off. I heard a lot of people call this a stoner movie. Like, I know a lot of people who say it's a lot better when you're high, so if that's something you do, I'd say go ahead and do that. Maybe have a little gummy. I don't know your life. But this movie is very silly and campy and the type thing that if you smoke, I bet it's really fun high. So I recommend it. I have this one on DVD too. I just didn't bring it in here. No one in my life is willing to watch it with me because I watched it so many times. But if you love a female villain, if you love a villain who is not apologetic about being a villain, honestly, if you love that, both of the last two would be up your alley. Ginger loves being a villain. Jennifer loves being a villain. It's fun. There's some weird vomit stuff in here too. I missed that in the trigger warnings. There is, like, weird vomit. But, like, I love this movie. Big fan. I like that I had those two together. I feel like Ginger Snaps walked so Jennifer's body could run.
Welcome to the Losers Club, asshole!
It, Chapter 1, directed by Andy Muschietti. That came out in 2017, which follows a group of bullied kids who band together to destroy a shape-shifting monster which disguises itself as a town to prey on the children of their small hometown in Derry, Maine. This happens in the summer of '89. I know, 80s horror, we're tired of it. But this one came out pretty early if you somehow don't know her. I blame this movie for us getting stuck in the 80s. I've talked about that on here too. This movie is one of my, like, earliest horror-specific comfort movies. While I don't reach for it a lot anymore, when I was in high school, I watched this movie so many times that when people saw anything connected to it, I was the first person they thought of. Like, I like this movie. I think it has some faults. I really don't like that it takes place in the 80s. I liked the 50s, 80s setup of the other ones better than the 80s, 2010s of this one. But it's the first horror of my favorite Scream King, Jaden Martell. You have Wyatt Oleff there, who is phenomenal with emotional scenes. You have Sophia Lillis, who does phenomenal. The child actors in this, who, like, I could argue a lot of them are not child actors. They're just actors who started young. I think being a child actor completely depends on the fact that as you get older, you lose your acting ability as you lose your childlike charm. I could go on a whole rant about who I think falls into that category, but I'm not going to because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But the young cast did so phenomenal. The Bowers gang did really phenomenal. I feel like people don't talk about them enough in, like, their performance here. I do dislike the makeup choices. I feel like some parts of why Pennywise was the way he was were, like, a little lost in this version. I'll put the trigger warnings on screen now because they're not coming to my head, but you know what they are. If you've been around here, you've listened to me talk about this damn clown for like a month straight. You don't want to hear about the clown anymore. But I feel like this is one everyone knows. I don't really find it scary. I know a lot of people said these were the scarier movies. I don't find it scary at all in any variation of it except that one. Because Stephen King, I don't like him. I think he's really creepy. I don't like the way he describes women. I don't like his obsession with childhood SA. I hate how much it comes up in his work. It makes me very uncomfortable. And the fact that he used to work in a high school when he writes like that also makes me very uncomfortable. I'll say that. I will. I DNF'd that book. I couldn't handle the way he talks about children and women. Oh well.
I finally made it, guys. I'm in the deadlights now.
1990, it's technically a mini-series. But if you know me, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, for a really long time, it was the #1 spot on my favorite movies. In 1960, 7 preteen outcasts fight an evil demon who poses as a child-killing clown. 30 years later, they reunite to stop the demon once and for all when it returns to terrorize their hometown. Unless it recently got taken off, this is currently on HBO Max as one movie, so I'm counting it as one. Produced by Warner Bros., just like the remake. I have all 3 DVDs. I love the way this one functions. It's one disc and you just flip it over like a vinyl for which half you want to watch. They're not labeled though. You just have to remember which one is part 1 and what's part 2. But I love this movie. Dennis Christopher's Eddie Kaspbrak is one of my favorite characters of all time. But I will warn you, definite racism. This movie did not shy away from the fact that Mike's issue was never family. It was the way people around him treated him for being the only black kid in town, and they don't hide from that. It doesn't try to, I'm just an outcast, but then people are still yelling at him to get out of their town. And it's like, oh, so that's racist. No, it's not. Yeah, it's racist. This movie is very open about the fact that that's what Mike's dealing with, and that's very triggering for some people, and I do want to clarify that's there. But I think the acting is beautifully done. I love that this one has a lot more scenes where the kids are just acting like kids, and they're very, very cozy, and there's like, they're always comforting each other. You have, again, Emily Perkins here as 12-year-old Bev. You have Seth Green here as 12-year-old Richie. My dearly beloved Dennis Christopher, Eddie Kaspbrak. He's my baby. I'm sorry. You can't make me hate him. You have Annette O'Toole playing Bev. You have John Ritter. Just absolutely stacked cast, but the best part of this movie is Tim Curry. Everyone knows Tim Curry is the best part of this movie. Everyone knows his Pennywise is strange and unhinged and lovable. I get to keep this. This is my dad's. My dad has had this for longer than I've been alive. This movie came out 13 years before I was born. And he told me I could have it because he never wants to watch a clown movie ever again because of me. He can keep It Chapter 2 though. I don't want that one.
I think something's wrong with the procedure.
We're halfway through. This is what I'm gonna get booed for because people hate this movie. The Unheard, which came out in 2023. This movie's boring. Yeah, it's slow. I'm sorry. This movie follows Chloe Graydon, who undergoes an experimental procedure to restore her hearing and begins suffering auditory hallucinations related to the vanishing of her mother. Now, this movie isn't going to warn you that about halfway through, you realize this isn't some sort of psychological, but in fact, this is like a killer movie. That threw me off for the first time. But you have my favorite Scream Monarch ever. And I'm not saying like out of non-binary actors are my favorite. They're my favorite of the entire Scream Monarchy at all. Lachlan Watson. You have Nick Sando from Orange is the New Black. Big fans of Caputo. He's evil here. You're not gonna like him as much. He's a lot more evil than he is as Caputo, but I love this movie. I can agree it's a little long for what it is. A lot of those scenes could have been shortened, but this is one of those movies where the scenery is so cozy and almost familiar. I've never been to Cape Cod. That's where it's set, but like there's something about this small lake town that feels like any small lake town you've ever been in. It has this weird familiarity to like going to my uncle's lake house for a week in the summer. I think Lachlan Watson's performance in this might honestly be one of their best ones. They do such a great job of being able to really just interact with themselves. Like, you really don't get a lot of the other characters on screen. A lot of it you're just hanging out with them. I think Chloe is a really fun character. I think she's very smart and she just makes some really stupid choices. But her final scene, I think she's one of my favorite final girls. Like, I'll openly say that. I think she's very smart. However, if she'd stop walking into strangers' houses and like taking liquor from men she doesn't know, she'd be a lot smarter. This is one of those movies that, like, if I'm genuinely paying attention, it's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you dumb? But then the rest of the time, I'm like, this is so cozy. Like, I really enjoy it. There is a lot of ringing. You have a lot of ear ringing. There are some physical glitchy things if that's something that bothers you. But for the most part, this movie is just very, like, cozy. It kind of feels like kind of just having a cup of tea in a weird way. It's very comforting to me. And again, a lot of that does have to do with the fact that the scenery reminds me so much of my teenage years, and the fact that I truly do believe that the interactions are very nice. I hate the dad. The dad sucks, but like, I don't know. The medical stuff isn't too medically. I think the fact that the character is just very casually queer and it's not something that needed to be brought up and like discussed, it just happens, is really great. I really enjoy the choice to use audio to sort of bring you into it. I think the scene where she realizes she got her hearing back is one of the cutest scenes of a horror movie ever. I love the Unheard. I'm sorry, I could talk about it for years. But if you have the attention span and the patience to sit through it, and if you can handle the static glitches, the visual flashing, and the ringing, because you know how in Criminal Minds, when Aaron Hotchner's ears are ringing, all of our ears are ringing? Yeah. That's what we're going through here. But I like when movies kind of pull you in. There's moments in this movie that are completely silent because the main character can't hear yet. It's really nice. I think you can, if you enjoy Lachlan Watson's acting, you'll enjoy it. Like, if you enjoy very slow-paced sort of movies, you'll like it. I like it. I don't know. I don't have anything better to say.
Listen to me. You need to run.
Fear Street Part 3, 1666 from 2021. This is, without a doubt, my favorite Fear Street movie. This takes place, for half of it, in 1666. A colonial town is being gripped by a witch hunt that has deathly consequences. For centuries to come, while teenagers in 1994 try to put an end to the curse that came from it before it is too late. I love this movie. I cry at it every time. This is another put it on to cry movie. It's a Netflix original. I think that the acting is very, very good in it. I will always give Fear Street that. I think they had great actors. I really like them. It has just the most comforting sort of bonds between these characters. You can feel the love between them. Like, the burial scene and how they all just lost someone but they still love her enough to believe she didn't do it. The way that all of these characters are functioning to try and avenge someone they love. It's so bonded. And I know that's the point of the original Fear Streets, but it really all comes to a close right here, and you really feel, even through death, how bonded all these characters have always been. I will give you a warning. This movie's homophobic. I feel like that's kind of obvious something like this would be homophobic, but it does have very homophobic overtones. They're not even undertones. It's very clear that they have decided the main character is a witch because she's queer. There's a hanging scene in this. It's very, very hard to stomach, but it's beautiful. It's well done. It's very dark. You're gonna have to watch it at night to see it. But I love the way everything just comes to a close here. Obviously, you have to know the other two, but if I'm putting on just a Fear Street movie because I need something on, it's gonna be this one every single time. Every time. I cry at it every time because it has such a genuine care. It's beautiful. It's worth your time, I promise. I know it's a teen horror and a lot of people don't like those, and I'd argue outside of the eye gouging, it has the least of the like gory deaths of the movies. I think the death in here is probably the least hard to stomach of all of them outside of that hanging scene and again the eyes. But I love it. I love that we get to see Sarah and Hannah have genuine love for each other, because Dina and Sam, who are played by the same actors, are like fighting the whole time. You can really feel how beautiful the chemistry was between those actors. I think the fact that they used actors from both other movies in this to kind of tie all of the towns back together was a great choice. I love this movie. I think it's great. I think it was a perfect closer. I like to pretend for it didn't happen. I haven't had any interest in it. Everyone's reviews of it have made me go, oh, so it just uses the title and it's not a Fear Street movie. Okay. And I don't really have an interest in watching a Fear Street movie that doesn't follow any of the guidelines for what Fear Street is. Kind of dumbs down the point and kills it out, you know?
Do not read the Latin.
A lot of these are horror comedies. This is definitely one of them. This is the movie that actually made me decide not to go to college straight out of high school and work to figure out what I genuinely want. And that might sound really weird, but we'll get into that in a second. Coming in at number 3, Cabin in the Woods from 2011. This movie is about a group of teens who go to a remote cabin in the woods where their fate is unknowingly controlled by technicians as part of a worldwide conspiracy where horror movie cliches are revealed to be real. I love this movie. It's so dumb, like it really is, but the practical effects in it are so good. Everything they could physically do got physically done. They used as little computer as possible. I think it's so beautiful. I actually, when watching the kill count on this for the first time in high school, just broke down in tears because I knew I had wanted to work either props or makeup since I was 13, and I had let people talk me out of it. And as I was sitting there my senior year of high school, I'd already been accepted to 2 colleges out of the ones I had applied for. I was still actively putting in applications. I sort of realized I couldn't just abandon that dream, and this movie has a big tie to that, and so this movie's always going to be very special to me. But also, Heather Langenkamp is part of the effects crew for this. This is one of the biggest effects crews a movie has ever had. It is insane. Like, this movie is so crazy to me. I love seeing behind the scenes of it. I love how aware it is and finding all the little references in it. It's great. I understand a lot of people don't like horror comedies and this isn't going to be for them. It's for me though. This is one of those movies that could never be remade. Ever. It wouldn't be done right, and honestly, if we're trying to use Gen Z actors, you don't have the right crowd. You don't. Because, like, who takes over as Chris Hemsworth? We don't have that type of heartthrob anymore. Like, those don't exist in my age group. Or at least not big enough names that they'd want to use them, you know? Which I know Chris Hemsworth and Jesse Williams, is that his real name? Neither of them had, like, what they're known for now yet when they filmed this, but, like, the stuff they were in had come out by the time this movie did. But I don't think this movie could ever be remade, and if it was, I wouldn't want it anyway, because they would just destroy it. Practicals and the makeup are what make this movie, and I say that for a lot of things, but, like, they really make this movie. Every single screen in it is, like, personally filmed by them. None of it's stock image, none of it's CGI'd in. Those are all things they filmed on set. Like, this movie visually is so exciting to look at. I'm gonna put it on. Anytime I get the chance, if it's on cable while I'm flipping through, that's what I'm stopping on. I don't care. I love this movie. I think it's beautifully done, and I think it's one of the best, most aware horror comedies ever. I think it does kind of fall into that concept of, like, scary movie and being aware of what you're doing, but it's a parody without trying to actively be stupid. Like, it still took itself seriously. It still cared about what it was making. It just also was aware it was a parody, and I think that's great.
Oh, Dad! It's me! Your boy!
This movie's gonna get me a lot of slack. I know. But I'm non-binary, and this is one of the first non-binary characters I ever saw, and so if you hate on me, I'm not gonna say it, but you know what I'm thinking. We have from 2004, the first Chucky movie directed by Mancini, Seed of Chucky. This follows Chucky and Tiffany as they're resurrected by their innocent and gender-confused child, Glenn Glenda, during a hit Hollywood movie filming, where the movie depicts the doll's murder and killing spree from Bride of Chucky. This movie's dumb. It's a comedy. It's campy. It's stupid. Glenn is still, to this day, my favorite character to ever be introduced in the Chucky franchise. I love Billy Boyd's, the little voice he does. They had John Waters here. That was great. Can never get enough of Miss Tiffany Valentine. I'm pretty sure that my thing for Swedish meatballs just came from how big of a crush I had on Tiffany Valentine as a child. I love this movie. It's dumb. It's supposed to be dumb. And the fact that this led to the Fiona Dourif movies being straight to DVD is so, or like straight to video on demand, weren't they? I have them on DVD though. That's so lame. I'm sorry. This movie's fun. Y'all just weren't ready for it. And I think a lot of it wasn't even how, like, stupid this movie was, because Bride was dumb. Like, so respectfully, Bride and Seed are both dumb. The rebrand from Child's Play to Chucky brought this franchise into being part comedy, which is what it needed. I think if it had tried to stay on the way it was with Child's Play, we wouldn't still be getting Chucky. And while I love to talk down on Friday and Nightmare and all of those that are just never seeming to die, Chucky has changed himself enough that he's fun. I love the TV show. Loved it. I love the Nika Pierce storyline. I like Bride and Seed a lot. I honestly prefer Chucky to Child's Play. And that's going to get me a lot of boos from anyone here who's just found me. But if you know me, you get it. I love Glenn. I would genuinely, like, sell my soul for one of the actual on-set Glenn dolls. Like, I'd do anything. Anything. One of the actors from Saw has, like, a Billy puppet, don't they? I think they do. I think that I should be allowed to have a Glenn. I know I wasn't there, so it's not the same thing, but, like, Dawn, please. Dawn, if you see this, I have a lot of questions to pick your brain. Mainly the fact that this movie shows that Tiffany Valentine and Jay Tills both exist in the same timeline, so does that mean all the actors from the show and movies exist in the timeline? Especially since the Chucky doll is turned off while they're filming that commercial where Jennifer Tilly's holding him, but it's still Brad Dourif's voice, so does that mean that Brad Dourif also exists in this timeline and he's still voicing Chucky? I have a lot of questions. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't, like, what, did they have Katherine Heigl and whatever that other guy was from Bride just sit there and confirm or deny if the voice sounded right? Like, They wouldn't know what he sounded like to just leave him like that. So does that mean all the actors are real? Like, this exists in a version of our timeline where they're all just doppelgangers? This movie opens a lot of questions, and I like thinking about them. I also just love this movie. I think it's dumb. I think it's silly. But if I am having a bad day, this is going on. Because you know whose day is worse? Glenn Ray Valentine. Could be worse. I could be a Ray Valentine. I could have escaped a guy who was using me as a puppet and keeping me in a cage just to find out I'm expected to be a serial killer. Like, I could come home every day to Chucky and Tiffany arguing, and that's not what happens in my life. I am not Glenn Ray Valentine, and that's what matters.
Y2K is real!
I thought the last one was gonna get me booed. This is the newest movie on this list. It came out at the point of filming this. There are 6 days until this movie is officially 8 months old. I have seen this movie 10 times. We are talking Kyle Mooney's Y2K from 2024. This is a very hated movie. I think y'all don't get it. Like, I hate to be like, you just don't get it. It's art. It's not good art. I'm not saying this is some beautifully perfect movie. What I am saying is this movie follows 2 high school nobodies who crash a Y2K party, and then the night becomes crazier when the clock strikes midnight. This is an apocalypse movie. Like, everyone's argument is, it has no plot. It's an apocalypse movie. They never do. Like, I'm looking you dead in your face when I tell you this. Name an apocalypse movie with a plot. What's the plot of 28 Days Later? What's the plot of Night of the Living Dead? Said it's an apocalypse. Said they're trying to survive a night. Maybe, it's that they think they can end it. You know what the plot of this is? It's an apocalypse. And the main characters think that maybe, just maybe, they can end it. It's an apocalypse movie. It's just a stupid comedy apocalypse movie. I don't know what you wanted from it. There's no plot. There wasn't gonna be. It's an apocalypse. Hold on. I don't have this on DVD because it's not on DVD, but I can show you what I do have. Look at here. It only had this and the VHS. But I do have this. It's upside down in here for some reason. If you've never seen this before, hold on. I'll give you a tour. I'm just going to talk about a movie I like now. This is fun. So, the disc it's set up to look like the one from the movie, but instead of the normal logo you'd have here on a CD, it's the A24 logo. And then behind it is the credit scene thong song music video. And when I got it, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be so silly if one of CJ's raps are on here? Where is it? The Swing Set Freestyle. You can't read that from here. The Swing Set Freestyle from Ash and CJ is on here. The actors are officially labeled as part of this soundtrack. I love this movie. I want it on DVD. I don't have a VCR. There was no point in me buying a VHS I couldn't play. But I love this movie. Again, you have 2 of my favorite Scream Monarchs ever. Lachlan Watson, Jaden Martell. I think Rachel Zegler was really fun. Julian Dennison, always a treat, always fun to have in a movie. He was delightful in How to Train Your Dragon 2. I love this movie. I don't know, it's dumb. It's not good. Like, I'm not gonna tell you it's a work of art. It's not what people expect from A24, but I think that's why it did so bad. It's a horror comedy on an apocalypse. All of those have always been a little no plot, just kind of stupid for the giggles. Definitely a stoner movie. Most apocalypse horror comedies feel like hear me out movies. This is one of them. Kyle Mooney was probably high at a friend's apartment and said, dude, you know, it'd be so fun. What if the Y2K apocalypse happened? And then when you're trying to save the world, you got to meet Fred Durst. That's what this movie is. That's what it is. There you go. It's great. It's great. It's fun. The soundtrack is fun. I really, really like Lachlan Watson and Jaden Martell's characters. If you have had a hole in your heart since we got it confirmed we're never getting the It supercut, and you just think seeing Jaden Martell in a flannel that doesn't match the season he is in, on a bike calling himself a loser again, at his big age of, I think he was 19 or 20 filming this. He's 22 now. But I think he was 19 or 20 filming it. I know he was 21 when it came out. If you've had a hole in your heart and you need it filled by that, this movie's got you. If you just want something you can turn your brain off, it's just a bunch of really dumb stoner jokes, here you go. Eduardo Franco is here. He's not here for long. I saw a review, and I'll put it on here if I can find it. There was a review. Bad news, the kid Leroy is here. Good news, he's only here for like less than 10 minutes and his head explodes in a microwave. I didn't know who that was. Like, I think he was put there for Gen Z to want to see this, but like, I didn't know who that was. I looked at my brother and I was like, ain't that the guy who has a song with Justin Bieber? Because that's all I know about him. That's it. I saw his VMA performance of the song he had with Justin Bieber. That's it. That's all I got. Wasn't even watching the VMAs for that. But this movie is just dumb. It's silly. Lachlan Watson playing a baby lesbian. We love to see it. Fred Durst is there being ridiculous. He makes a joke about sounding like Tipper Gore. That was fun. I also, before I close this out, if you've ever seen this movie, you know those last couple minutes take place in 2005 where they are visiting a dead character's grave. It is the 3 characters who survived the movie. And you hear on the radio that in honor of Fred Durst saving the world, they are playing a 24-hour block of Limp Bizkit. Mind you, in this universe, they'd only have from $3 Bill Y'all to the Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water. They'd only have those 3 because the rest of the band dies. They're dead! But if you just listen to the Fred Durst part of the epilogue, this universe is insane. Because you're telling me Fred Durst watched his entire band, except for him and Wes Borland, die on stage. He then teams up with 4 17-year-olds who found him in the porn room of a video rental shop. He plays his cover of Faith to distract a room full of parents and robots so those teenagers can go save the world. He still releases Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water. Roland becomes the best-selling single of any song ever. He starts a tech startup company, runs for senator, and wins. I want to live in this timeline. What's happening? I bet you in the Fred Durst timeline, they have a second number for all the senators and representatives where you can drunk call them a bitch. And in that timeline, if I was there, I could call the South Carolina representatives and senators and call them useless, dick-sucking bitches. And I would love to be able to do that because they're just now getting to stuff from June. And the amount of emails and physical mail I have gotten that are just completely useless. Completely useless. Like, literally just everything. Honestly, we're already embarrassing enough because we have Lindsey Graham and Nancy Mace. And then every email you get is, thank you, Constituent, for thinking human beings who are alive should be treated like human beings who are alive. However, I have been bouncing on Daddy Donald's Viagra dick for so long that I no longer have any feeling. But he says if I can make him feel like the specialist boy in the world, then maybe I'll get something in return instead of just being edged, like every single person who voted for him who is about to get screwed over. So I don't care that they're alive. That doesn't matter. They shouldn't be. And so I like to imagine in this universe I could call all of them and tell them they're a useless bitch who never deserved their job. And I think Fred Durst as a senator could figure out how to get me that. So I'd like to live in this timeline. I really don't care that the robots uprose. I wouldn't have been alive for that. I was born in 2003. I would have been fine. I wouldn't have been there. Boop, boop, boop. My dad loves this movie, by the way. People talk about how only millennials like it. My dad is a millennial Gen X cusper, but he is technically Gen X. He had a great time with this movie. My mom did too. They loved it. This movie's dumb. They were in college for Y2K. Well, my dad was. Movie's stupid. It's silly. It's fun. It leaves a lot of fun questions to ponder over. But all that being said, I've yapped at you for... I'll probably cut out a lot of it, but you're going to get little jump clips. So I've yapped at you for an hour, basically. Thank you for being here. I had a great time talking about my favorite movies, or at least my comfort movies. My favorite horrors are like a whole different thing. There's a lot more like Jordan Peele and Ari Aster both come up in there. I don't know. My favorite horrors are a very different flavor to my comfort horrors. And if you ever want to hear about that, I'll probably do a video eventually with it. But thank you for listening to my comfort horrors. If you haven't seen any of them, and the excitement in my voice and my ability to yap unrestrained about them fills you with any sort of glee, I check them out. They're stupid. They're fun. I'm gonna warn you, a lot of them are stupid. I already have, but I'm gonna remind you, a lot of them are stupid. Like, I don't claim that my comfort movies don't do stupid things. They exist for me to turn my brain off. I like them. But thank you for being here. I will see you next week. If you decide to come back, I think I'm talking about like my dream doll list. Like my dream collection of dolls. So if you want to hear about that, come back in. I don't know, maybe subscribe or something. I'll see you next time, baby. Bye.